Hello and welcome to today's a little different historic Brawl video. I figured might want to start showing some decks that I'm playing in historic Brawl, as it's a nice little palette cleanser between best of 3 games, or if you want to take a day off, or if I want to say take a day off from my we'll say a little homework of trying to get whatever deck for the best of 3 video I happen to be working on. Historic Brawl is the nice little palette cleanser I play, and the big deck that I've been playing a lot of right now is Mono Red Ilharg the Raze-Boar. Ilharg, very simple, 5 mana 6/6 trample. With whenever he attacks, you can put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, and then you have to return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. And then Ilharg does have the ability that all of the we'll say Ravnican gods, even though they're not all from Ravnica, except Ilharg is, where if it dies, you can put it in your library third from the top, which is a nice way to get around commander attacks sometimes. But the important thing we care about for the sake of our little big red deck here is the second ability, which is more or less the ability to cheat big things into play. For that, we have 2 little columns, cards that impact the battlefield immediately in some way when they enter, and ones that don't impact immediately necessarily, but can easily snowball a game if left unchecked, and if you happen to play them, naturally, which does happen sometimes. For the sake of our immediately useful cards, things like Meteor Golem for removal cards, Silverclad Ferocidon and Angrath's Marauders allow you to either get rid of opposing permanents, though they have to choose what they sacrifice, or just deal lots of damage with things like Angrath Marauders. Also things like Inferno of the Star Mounds, things that can, have flying and pump themselves up, or Gear Hulk for card draw, stuff like that. Good, relatively abusable into the battlefield effects, which you can get repeated value with, again with the Ilharg trigger. We also have other cards that are not great when they enter the battlefield, but can be, although Demanding Dragon is actually into the battlefield card. Things like Glorybringer, because of how the card is worded, you can't exert it once it's already comes into play attacked. Once you sneak attack it in, you can't exert it, but if you play it naturally, it can quickly sort of get out of hand. Terror of the Peaks, again, is actually a perfect example of a card that doesn't do anything on its own when it enters, but if something else is able to enter the play and the terror is basically unanswered, it can quickly take over a game. Herbalist gives us haste, Platinum Angel and Ulamog give us some sort of colorless protections here. And those are some of our sort of target cheated in things. Hi, baby girl, you want to come hang out with Dad? Sure, that's fine. Now, to support that deck, we have a whole little load of other more utilities things and ramp. Ramp, like every deck should have, is a little harder to get your hands on in red, but we have things like Strike It Rich and Steam-Kin for untraditional ramp, and then more normal things like Signets and Coldsteel Hearts, the occasional way to get up basics like environmental sciences and stuff, as well as Open the Omen Paths and Irencrag feat to sort of actually cheat on mana, as well as, again, more traditional just methods to get additional basics or lands into the field. We do have some sort of card draw spells like Faithless Looting, Reformation. Eye of Vecna is nice since it's more or less a baby Sign in Blood that can be repeated. Cards like this, and Mizzix Mastery is a little bit of a weird one in that it can also, basically flashback anything, but for the sake of it, it's usually flashing back card draw, but it can always flashback, things like Omen Paths and things like that. We do have removal, as every good deck should, and things like Frostbite and Lightning Bolt, all the way to like Sweltering Suns and Chain Whirlers, and even Sarkhan's Unsealing, which is particularly nice on our deck. And our last little category is just general sort of like useful cards. Chandra is a little bit of a, an amalgamation of all the aforementioned things. It can be card draw or ramp. It can also be removal. And hey, sometimes you can get to the ult. Leyline of Combustion is nice since we are still trying to play, as weird as it sounds, somewhat honest Magic of just hitting our opponent with big scary creatures, and Leyline at least ensures that if they're able to remove us or interfere with us with our targeted removal, that at least we're getting something in. And other things like Rekindling Phoenix being an okay blocker, or Tectonic Giant just being useful little card draw spells, or Stonecoil Serpents giving you protection from multicolored, stuff like that. Land base, not too terribly interesting. Running snows because we do have some of the snow removal cards, and it's running a lot of what's the word? Utility of red lands. We do like the deserts since we can cycle, or turn them into like little shocks with their ramen up runes. But other than that, it's not too terribly different or difficult to understand. We have Graveyard Hate and Scavenging Grounds and all of the other aforementioned deserts, as well as cards like where is he? He's here somewhere. The Cemetery Gatekeeper, stuff like that. And that is our little basic deck tech on the Big Red Brawl. We'll go ahead and go now into game number 1. Showcase game number 1 with our little Big Red Brawl deck. This is fine. It's not like gonna set the world on fire, but it'll do. Going against a Heliod Sun Crowned here, which, oh, they have a nice art. That's not bad. We'll go ahead and Faithless Looting, see what we can find. That's not really going to be that helpful here, so we'll get rid of Transmog and probably Morag. Nothing else, we can always find a land with Environmental Sciences. Good, good, good. We've basically guaranteed our path to an Irencrag into an Ilharg. Very useful. Our opponent is clearly playing some sort of life gain deck. Playing their commander whenever they can, which is very smart. We'll go ahead and play the Gatekeeper as just a body. You know what, we'll get rid of my own Morag, that's fine. They're gonna be, I imagine, somewhat creature heavy. Pardon me for that sniffle. Yeah! Knew they would be somewhat, what's the word? Life gain dependent. We'll go ahead and play the Irencrag feat and get our Ilharg down. We do take 2 damage ourselves, but that's fine. We can go ahead and attack with our Gatekeeper since it has first strike. Celestial Unicorn is a card that does work in that deck. They have the Bob Ross lands like I do. Nice. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Boo. Boring. Oh, that's really annoying. I actually kind of can't interact with that. That's cool. Let's see. We can go ahead and play a Solemn Simulacrum, I guess. Get more lands. We can chump with our Solemn all day long as we try desperately to figure out what the hell we're gonna do. To try and get this off. We can always Ulamog actually targeting the trap in the tower. It's honestly really good. We'll take that card draw. Alright, we can go and just play the Gear Hulk, if nothing else, for just a big body. It's not going to set the world on fire or anything crazy, but it'll do. That's honestly pretty good. It's not exactly an untapped source, but it is a land, so we can't be too upset. is kind of our point earlier about if our opponent just runs removal, we kind of don't really have any way back into this. Hang on, I think we can technically stay alive, but not by much. Destroy the glass casket to get that back. Probably gonna get rid of an artifact because we don't actually want to. What's the word? Shock ourselves right now. This is going very badly, but this is what happens when your mono red deck runs up against removal. And that's game. We'll go on now to game number 2 and show hopefully the deck's sort of working how we want it to. And our game number 2 with a little big red Brawl deck. I do apologize for the heating you hear in the background, but it's winter and cold. Yes, another 2-color commander versus our 1-color. God, this matchmaking algorithm. Super screwy. Okay, we're drawing lands. It's not in ideal order or anything, but it'll do. Not drawing any way to ramp at all. It does effectively mean that we just kind of can't keep up, which is real cool. But maybe we'll get something useful. Like an Irencrag, that's useful. Actually, unironically. Our opponent is just doing things, because there's not really enough slugs here for Toxwell to work as you want it to. Need another red source to play the Irencrag. Go ahead and play our Ilharg now. Sadly, we can't spend that extra 2 mana, but if we could, that card would probably be too strong. Now, next turn, assuming this happens to just enter play and, you know, live, which I sincerely doubt that it will. Get the fuck out of here. So we're going to attack with the Ilharg first and cheat our Morag onto the battlefield. Unless stupid shit like that happens. There we go. Well, can't always get points. Let's see. Attacks, or it's put into exile, so we're gonna decline. Third from top, take action. Put in library. Go ahead and Sweltering Suns to get rid of... Oh, right, you can't even do that because we did it with the... Right. That was a... There we go. There we go. Forgot that was at instant speed, which screwed up my brain. Will likely sacrifice, as you should. Go ahead, probably just play our Cemetery Gatekeeper. I want to get rid of their, or punish them for their ability to cast instants, because, you know, this deck strength matchmaking algorithm, that's cool, is totally balanced and working as intended, but that's fine. We can go ahead and do our Morag, which was our original plan, was to try and get out some extra combat steps out of them. Fuck off. Can you just... Okay, it's really frustrating. I'm gonna keep this in solely because I would like the record to show that, like, I don't see how my monocolored. I fucked that up, didn't I? Whatever. Fucking stupid. Let it be shown for this game that why, like, how the fuck is this... 1 second. Let me articulate my point really fast. I'm gonna keep that shit show in for one particular purpose. Games like that, when I'm playing my Brawl decks, are a really, really good example of I don't understand in what world my mono-red Ilharg, look at me, I'm a sneak attack on a body, is remotely the same power level as just, like, Dimir good shit that, like, slowly corrodes a board. I don't see how that's, like, remotely of similar power level. And to my knowledge, they've said that there is a, what's the word? That there is some sort of algorithm and, like, tweaking going on behind the scenes that determines, you know, oh, really good decks go over here, and this power level goes over here. But, like, I'm clearly... Is it just not many people playing, I guess? I just find that shit really frustrating, and I would love if somebody from Wizards happens to magically figure this out, to explain to me how they find, or how they explain these two things being of similar power level. Anywho, we'll try to go to, like, a good game and get, like, an actual win in here. At least one for the sake of this video. Okay, game number 3 with our big red bullshit deck. We'll go ahead and get them all again. There's not enough in this hand to make that work. We can do something with this. We'll go ahead and keep this. And I suppose, because every once in a while, as we also talked about in the first game, at least monocolor versus monocolor is like, okay, that's a similar power level. You know, alright, I'll give you Ilharg versus Finn the Fangbearer. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to kind of assume. But man, sometimes that shit is really difficult to deal with. I just now realized that's not going to work how I want it to work. So I'm only paying with 2 snow. Fuck me. Okay. Play the banner. Almost royally fucked that one up. Yeah, that's... I do like this, though. What, Death Touch aggro? Alright. We'll go ahead and use Chandra just as a removal spell to get rid of their Finn. If there's something I can do with that 2 mana. No, I didn't think so. I know that it dies immediately. It might just be played immediately. But against this deck, it's more that we're looking for room to breathe than anything else. Yep, Spood plays Finn. Now he could go for my face, or yeah, I can do that.
We're done here.
This is not that good. Do we transmog and pray, or do we just remove something and chill? Because I'll get 2 mana back, but then I can't even cast it for the adamant cost. So I'm just like... Fucking that is a tricky one. I think we'll just pay with 2, get 2 back. Now, we don't get to use the adamant on the Clockwork Servant, but again, we're just looking to stem the bleeding, as it were. But I like this. This is actually a pretty interesting game. Oh, I didn't even notice he let that go to the graveyard. I was in my own little world. Running a regrowth and everything. I like our opponent's deck. Leads attack, by all means. I will happily block that shit. See what our opponent does. Again, happily. We do get a treasure token, to be fair. But I am okay with that. Love to draw land, not gonna lie. Alright. We could play our Ilharg, but again, we're just gonna get rid of their fin as much as possible. We do have to take a turn off from doing our cool Ilharg stuff, but that's fine. Command tower from our opponent. Might play their... Oh shit, that bad in the Shia. That doesn't... Yeah, it's just a big body. Wasn't Brawl. Fair point. Fair point. We will still go for the Ilharg. Why not? Might as well. We do have a Chaos Warp. Isn't that right, little girl? Yeah, come on. Come lay down with Dad. I love you. We will let the 8 through if they attack, but I don't think they will or should. Alright, alright. That's something you can do. I think we'll actually just play the Atali then. We'll go ahead and attack with our Ilharg. Getting a combustible Gear Hulk and either getting some cards or dealing some damage. And even if we let our Ilharg go in our deck, since we will, put it in our deck since we're running low on mana. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Trample still does get through, so we do a lot of damage pretty much either way. So we're gonna decline. Again, we're gonna put this in our deck because we are. It's not like we won't be able to play it normally next turn anyway. So we might as well let it go in the deck, or we can play it for its normal cost with no commander attacks. Isn't that right, baby smugglers? Okay, I mean, it sucks, but it does kill both things, so it's like, fine, I guess. You can always Terror of the Peaks and then do some goofy shit. Fling is an instant. We'll keep that if we really, really need it, but I don't think we will. Does Transmog give it haste? The player puts on the battlefield rest. Okay, that's fine. Happen upon a glade. Permanent card goes back. Fair enough. I know, Daddy make a video. You're like, I need attention, Father. You understand? I totally let that thing through, unless you're gonna... If you remove it, then we'll just fling it in response. There is no one spell that gives him +5/+5 in the format, so we're okay on that one. Okay, he just hit me for a lot. Okay, that's the thing you can do. We'll go ahead and Gear Hulk then. Shooting opponent for a buttload. You either let us draw our Ilharg. It depends. Now we also maintain the ability to just fling something in instant speed. Alright, we got actually a good game in there. I think that's a pretty good place to kind of show our deck here. Thank you all for watching. I will actually be doing more of these historic Brawl videos as a somewhat recurring kind of segment on the channel. I know I like dabble in doing all kinds of random shit. But this is basically Magic the Gathering Historic, so you can rely on this to show up a little more than one would think. It'll probably be a couple weeks before we do one, because there's not a whole lot of fun commanders, so I have to space these out. But if you do want more Historic, it will come back on the channel in the future. And honestly, inside of at least a month from now, maybe sooner, depending on how things go. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.